Hey guys, it's Julie with Julie Walton Health, and it is Christmas time. Me and my mom always used to go out during the holidays and we would get those giant cookies from Starbucks, the ginger ones, and they were so good. But now I can't have gluten or dairy, and so we had to recreate them. So these are gluten-free and vegan, and I did about 12 trials, so I hope you guys like these as much as I do. I'm gonna start by grinding the oats. So I'm gonna mix, for the flour base for this cookie, I'm gonna mix oats and almond flour. I love the combination of these two flours. I find that when you mix too many whole grains together, the cookies come out and they taste really grainy and very gluten-free-ish. But with the combination of these two flours, I find that it just tastes really delicious. So anyways, I'm gonna start by putting the oats in so that we can blend it, and I'm pouring everything everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna blend these up. And then you wanna check, you want it to be pretty fine. Like, I would say there's still a few, you can still see some flakes of oats. And so I would definitely grind it a little bit more, but you don't wanna grind it too much so that it starts to kind of stick to the edge. Okay, so either you can do it at the very beginning, or I usually do it kind of after I've ground my flour together. I make sure my oven is at 350 degrees, and I have at least two, I make three, I cover 3 baking sheets with parchment paper because the cookies, they really expand. It's quite surprising. Like I literally only have 6 cookies on one pan. So that's why I usually use 3 pans for this recipe. So make sure you do that. And then I'm gonna continue adding some ingredients to our flour mixture. I tried using just baking soda and it made the cookies too flat, but too much baking soda is gonna make our cookies kind of turn a little bit too doughy. So 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm gonna add that to our flour mixture. And then with the ginger, it calls for 2.5 tablespoons of ginger. And you can start, if ginger is a little bit offensive to you or you don't know if your kids will like it, I would start with like 1.5 to 2 tablespoons. And then because it's vegan, it doesn't have eggs, at the end you can taste it and see if you want to add a little bit more. And then only 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I found that if you added too much cinnamon, it just took over with this recipe, and we want these to be ginger cookies. In vegan or egg-free baking, I love ground flaxseed. I find that it doesn't give it a gummy texture, and I also find that it works really, really well. So for 1 flax egg, it is 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed to 2.5 tablespoons of water. So this recipe calls for 2, so I have 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, and I'm gonna mix it with 5 tablespoons of water. And then I'm just gonna set that aside to, it'll kind of set and become a little bit, I don't know, gummy, and it'll kind of congeal a little bit. And that's what's gonna hold our cookies together. And they're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, so that's a perk too. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside over here. And then we are going to whisk our dry ingredients together. And we don't wanna overmix it because we wanted our baking soda and baking powder to do the magic in the oven. So I'm gonna set that aside and we're gonna get rolling on our wet ingredients. Turn on the stove and I'm gonna put it right down to low. So I'm going to melt 2/3 of a cup of coconut oil. And then we're gonna take it off the heat and we're gonna mix in all the rest of our wet ingredients. We have our oil. I'm going to mix in 1 cup of coconut sugar. So let's talk about ginger. I actually use real ginger in this recipe because it tastes so freaking good. And it kind of just, I don't know, makes them a little bit of a step above the store-bought. I just use this kind of grater. So I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon. You can add more. My kids don't like them too spicy, so I would probably add a little bit more than 1 tablespoon. So if you're feeling adventurous, you can do that. But 1 tablespoon is what I'm gonna add today. And then I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then we are going to also add, this is what makes it kind of taste like a traditional ginger cookie, is we're gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of molasses. This is the Wholesome molasses brand, but if you're using kind of the more traditional molasses, I would taste it and just start low, and this might be a little bit stronger depending on the molasses you use. So taste it and see how it goes, but 1.5 tablespoons is what I use. All right, I'm gonna add in our flax eggs. And then, you guys, we already added our coconut oil, but I mixed in a little bit of avocado oil. So the reason I'm doing this is because if we have 2 kinds of oils, this cookie comes out and it's kind of crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside. Using these 2 different kinds of fat really help. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this all together. Now it's mixed together. I'm gonna pour it in to our flour mixture. Don't let any of the delicious oil or sugar go to waste. Make sure you get it all out of your pot. Let's take a peek at what this looks like. See that? Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna sneak a taste. It's happening. Balanced flavors, it's good. I would add more ginger, but then my kids will eat them, so I'm not going to. But yeah, they do bite back a little bit. The ginger is nice and spicy, and that's just the way I like it. I just use just a normal tablespoon, and I kind of just form them into, this looks small, but they really expand. Okay guys, so I just pulled these out of, I pulled these out of the oven. I'm just gonna see if I can tilt it so you can see. And they turned out really, really nice. I usually let them sit on the pan for about 5 minutes, because if you were to touch them, you literally just wanna see if they're brown around the edges and then they come out. They have to sit for about 5 to 10 minutes on the pan before you can take them off, or they will crumble. But now, they are, look at that, yum. Okay, so they're hard on the outside and they're really nice and soft on the inside. So you can see I would have probably blended the oats a little bit more so it's in that nice fine flour texture, but other than that, these babies turned out great. So if you like this recipe and you are interested in hearing about more recipes like this, subscribe to my channel, like it please, it really helps support my channel. Click on the little bell so then you will be notified when I have new recipes and you won't miss out. So also you can check out some of my other recipes at www.juliewalton.ca. There's tons, every single recipe is gluten-free, dairy-free, and refined sugar-free. And I always let you know on Instagram when I'm putting up new recipes, and I also show you different places to check out resources for eating with intolerances and if you have gut issues. That's all I got for today. Enjoy the holiday season, and I hope you enjoy these cookies.